Call to order the meeting on Monday, March 2nd, 2026 at 6 p.m. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Jenny.
Mayor Vogel,
Here.
Councilmembers Robinson,
Here.
Udvig,
Here.
Bonis. Here. Mulebauer.
Here. Approval of tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion. Mr.
Motion
Mayor.
by Councilman Mulebauer. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Robinson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pull the same sign. On to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to accept tonight's consent agenda?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Udvig. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Robinson. Any discussion?
I have one, if I may, Mayor.
Yeah,
I think it's
absolutely.
towards, to Kate, please. WSB, we wrote a check for 30,000. Is that part of Highway 47? The traffic counts and whatnot alongside register?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, I would have to look into that.
It's on page 26.
Didn't mean to catch you off guard.
Sorry.
Yep, that's,
I had written that down too. It's on page 26, I think.
I'm sure it's allowed. That was just, and I forgot Darcy wasn't here, otherwise I would have saved it. We can bring it up next time.
the 21,000 of that was for Highway 47. Another 2,000, so it's actually divided between the Highway 47 design and environmental and the Bridge Street, the traffic study,
Okay.
which should be completed, and they're looking to come to council and present that probably the end of April.
All right. And a side question, on Bridge Street, traffic count, does the county help with any of that? Are they, will they be able to use any of that data or help pay for any of that data?
Mayor and Council, they won't help pay for any of the data. Right now, they're reviewing the design or the information to see if they can give us some input on what they could ever see that they would do at that intersection. So they're
Okay.
part of the data, but they're not gonna help pay for the data.
Unpaying partners anyway.
Correct.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, Kate. That's all, sir.
Anybody else? All right. All those in favor of tonight's agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pull the same sign. Motion passes. Meeting open to the public. Please step forward if you would like to speak.
Hello. Tina Carroll, wanted to ask, not sure if this is the right area to do it or what it is, but you know, as you guys know, we live right off of Ambassador. And wondering if it'd be the city or the county that would have to do it, but we're wondering if there's a sign that can be put up there for semis that says no Jake braking. Because there are so many nights where we get woken up by that because it's so loud and so annoying. So I don't know if that's something you guys would take care of or.
I don't want to throw you under the bus, Paul. I mean, I recognize you don't have an immediate, is that, you want to address that
I
or?
assume it's the county.
Actually, I
assume
think
so,
it's a great
too.
question. It is a county road, yes. But I'm not sure if JK braking would be covered by the road or with the city as an ordinance. Kate, maybe you could.
Mayor and Council, I don't have a direct answer with that. That is probably something we could reach out to the county and ask. But we may be directed to create an ordinance.
Yeah, because I don't know who lives over there, but I know it's very annoying and very loud. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Real quick, how would we go about that then?
Well,
So,
and
yeah.
Mayor, Council.
Tina, do you want to hold one
Tina?
second?
Sure.
Sorry.
You made a comment. Is it a resident or is it just general traffic?
Just general
Okay.
semis going by
Okay.
that will
At all times.
all times, but you know, we even hear it at night. And there's, as you all know, Mike used to be a truck driver and he says there's absolutely no reason to Jake brake there. That's meant for mountains, not for side streets. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Is that something you or Paul, or I don't know who would?
I
look
can.
into it? Okay.
Mayor and Council, I'll look into it.
Thanks, Paul.
Absolutely.
Oh, Mike,
I gotta do my name and address again, or?
just your name.
Mike Powell. There's a couple things I wanted to address. It's been a while since I've been in here. Last time I was at the council meeting, we were all talking, and one of the responses we got from a few of you was, well, you aren't here, or you're not at the council meeting enough. So I decided to share some personal information with everybody to kind of do it. My dad's in Chicago. He had a stroke. My stepdad's right there. He can't breathe. I've got a bad shoulder. I haven't worked in 6 weeks. Tina's got to go and get a knee replacement. So when you guys sit there and say, well, if you ain't at the meeting, your voice don't count, that sucks. I mean, because my neighbor across or to the side of me, to the north of me, he is on hospice. Does that mean his voice don't count because he can't make it to the meetings? You made a thing to Tina. Well, when I moved in, I was involved in the meetings right away. Well, she moved in here in this fall of 2024, started the meetings the spring of 2025. I've been here longer. So if you want to direct that towards me, go ahead. But there are reasons I can't be to every meeting. Last meeting you guys had, when it was really empty, when I was watching it on the screen, I was in the emergency room. So when you guys say things like that on Facebook, I mean, I've heard it from you, and especially Mr. Rogers back there. If you ain't at the meeting, I don't want to hear it. Well, you know what? I'm telling you why I can't make it to every meeting. And I don't think it's fair that that is being brought to our attention. And the other thing is with the taxes. Mayor Vogel proposed a thing where he said, well, he wanted to do more of a symbolic vote for the taxes for $1,000 chairs out there, or $80,000 landscaping that's done twice in 2 years, or cutting down 6 acres of trees. So we don't worry about the bats, but we haven't seen an eagle since. I mean, so we're spending money before we've got authorization. We're building for progress that wasn't wanted. Mike Rogers and Joe Mulbauer have been very clear that they can't give that property away for more than $5,000. If we've got to give $2 million TIFs, or we've got to give our $2 million tax breaks or 26-year TIFs to get them to come in here, what are we gaining from that? So we're building when people, builders don't want to come in. And what I've seen in these meetings, I haven't seen anybody that wants a ton of growth here. So we're building for all this expansion that I can't see. I mean, if I'm wrong, you couldn't give the property away for $1. Then it went to 5,000, and then Michael tell us, well, we're getting $1 million. Well, what do we got invested to get that $1 million? How long do we take before we get money back? I mean, because we already got, all this stuff is already done. I mean, we can't take any of it back. But what I want to do is stop it from going further, where we keep overbuilding for something when people don't want it. I mean, if we can't get builders in here without bribing them with $2 million, what are we getting? I mean, I'm a capitalist. I get it. I mean, there is a thing. You've got to give tax breaks to business to get them in. But most of the time we get something back for that. I mean, if you give Quick Trip a tax break, at least almost everybody in the community or anybody drives through it gets part of that. That building there at Vista, what's it charge? $2,000 to $10,000 a month to be there? Okay. I've got a family member in Anoka. They're paying $5,000 a month. Got a family friend of 40 years in Monticello in a home because he's got dementia. So he's in there, and that's like $7,500 a month. One thing I have never asked of my neighbor, my community, or my city council is to pay $2 million so I don't have to drive to Monticello or Anoka. I mean, we've got to spend this back. And I mean, I take it personal when it becomes there. I mean, Mike's really good at saying, well, we get $1 million for that property if we'd have got that apartment building. Well, we got that apartment building down there. We didn't get anything for that. Why should we trust that any builder's going to give us anything? I mean, you guys pay the same taxes. And I mean, I even heard some of you complaining about the taxes last time, but we couldn't even get a symbolic vote on stopping stupid spending like on $1,000 benches in front of a building. I mean, to say that we built the building while everybody else did it, so I had to, I mean, I'd rather you stand on your principle and say no. I mean, because that's what I do. I'll die on a hill if I think I'm right. And I hope you guys do too. I appreciate every one of you. Every one of you do an amazing job. I can't, even if I wanted to, run for council with my health and the stuff I've got going. So every one of you are very well appreciated. And I vote for all of you again. We just got to talk to each other and come up with a better answer than what we got going. I mean, I haven't heard anybody say they want more bigger fancy things. We don't need dog parks. I mean, I was told that, I was insinuated that dog park could be sold if it was bought. Or if they made the property there, at least it could be used till somebody bought it. We asked the council last time, that's not true. That's not up for sale. So I mean, I got misrepresented on that. So, I mean, it's, you guys asked for open and honesty, and that's all I'm trying to do. I mean, like I said, I respect all of you. And I would vote for all of you again. I just wish we could all come on the same page on spending less money. I mean, that's all I want. And I'm sure that's what you guys want. Like I said, you guys all live here too. I mean, I can't say, well, you guys want to build an apartment on my road because it doesn't affect you. That's just as unfair as the council hearing, well, you're on well water, you're not paying it. That wasn't fair to them either. So, I mean, we've got to just kind of all work together. That's all I ever want. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Anybody else? All right, moving on to new business. Council meeting schedule. And just for Opers on that real quick, I know Kevin's talked about it a little bit and I've talked a little bit about it with Kate. And so I'm gonna toss it over to Kate, but Kate's done just a little bit of research and we want a general, there's no decision tonight. It's just a general discussion about our meeting schedule. So Kate?
Yep. Mayor and council, so before you tonight is the topic of our meeting schedule. So currently we hold 2 meetings a month. The last 3 meetings you've seen, we've had fairly light agendas. I did look back at last year's meetings and there's possibly 6 to 8 that we potentially could have canceled if we didn't have the set schedule. This is a conversation that I had spoken with the mayor briefly about. We learned of a city of about 12,000 that has just recently dropped down to 1 meeting a month. There are other cities out there. Before staff spends a lot of time, we just wanted to gauge council. Is this something that is worth researching? Are you comfortable with the 2 meetings and just want to stay where we're at? Or are you interested in dropping to 1 meeting, leaving that second week open for work sessions, special meetings if we need it for ordinances or contracts or something of the like? And just some general direction to staff. Do you want this looked at further or are we happy where we're at? So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, but again, this is real high level and just kind of gauging, do we want to look at this further or not?
Kevin, you want to start us out?
Sure. It might be too wishful thinking. I was hoping for more meat and potatoes on the meeting that we do have. Again, we've had stuff that's probably as little as 16 minutes. And as long as, well, at least in my time here, probably as long as an hour and a half or better. And some good constructive discussion, but I guess I would say if we went down to 1 meeting, is there a charter issue? Is this a charter issue that needs to be addressed?
Mayor and council, so the biggest issue with the charter would be our ordinances because the charter requires we do 2 readings. That's where we would probably make sure that when we do a first reading, especially on items of land use, we would have to call that second meeting just to do the reading of the ordinance. If it's just general housekeeping, say we're just updating, like every year we do just a housekeeping list, that could be held another month, but anything related to land use would likely force us to a second meeting.
Sure. And if we had, speaking of land use, if we had more stuff going on, more, some things bubbling out there and really a lot of stuff, we'd probably require 2 meetings a month. I mean, the P and Z meetings, when was the last time we had a P and Z meeting? Like forever, none.
Yep.
But
So Mayor and Council, P and Z, their schedule always brings everything to the first meeting of the next month. Once in a while, we'll have a final plat that doesn't require, a planning commission meeting or something that delays it. But again, we would always know that first meeting that we need the second meeting because of how the planning commission lines up with their schedule anyway. So it is something I would never want to give up a second meeting date and have it always on our calendar as a tentative, but whether or not we would always need that second meeting date is really, do we want to permanently have a second date or do we want the flexibility to call a second date if required?
sure.
So.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna be a martyr here, but I would say if we had half the meetings, we'd get half the money, have our paycheck. I mean, I feel bad sometimes already. I mean, we do other stuff, ancillary stuff outside of this. Everybody's got some obligations, excuse me, at least 2 or 3 times in the month for other areas that concern the city. So we are doing something. And I think, what we do get is modest at this time, but I would take half the money for half the meetings. That's the first thing. But again, as far as the budget situation, it'd be nice to take a department and take 30 minutes. We'd have a block of 30 minutes and talk about a line item type stuff and look at it. And if it doesn't make any change or we can't save any money or we can't move any money around, then, but at least we discussed it. And it was on open forum and it's recorded for posterity. I mean, work sessions do that too. We record that in an audible sense, but if, from a budget standpoint, if we use meeting time, again, block it so it doesn't go on forever, but pick some, and we can say that we vetted it, not to say that we've actually vetted stuff out to the point where it was out and open and, whether it be maybe a police budget would take 2 meetings or 2 30-minute blocks or a 45-minute block or whatever, and just talk about it. And so people understand more and embrace what we're doing here as far as come August, September, when we talk about, money and budgetary stuff. And as I've looked over this stuff the last couple of months as well, it still seems COLA, cost of living, which everybody is usually getting in a workplace. That's going to be our biggest thing this year, as well as our contracts are quiet now for a while. But I guess I'd like to reserve the second meeting for a must do situation, but it'd be nice to have some concrete stuff for the meetings that we do have at a glance. So that's all. Sir.
Yeah, I had raised the thought of pay too. I'm not saying, I think we would just have to kind of discuss that, because I felt that way too. I'm like, but then how do you do that? Because then if we're consistent, if we have 2 meetings, then does it, that makes for a budgetary nightmare. So that is, I guess, something we'd have to figure out, but, I'm guessing that moving to just the 1 meeting a month, that would make our meeting, that 1 meeting probably is going to be a bit
More
longer.
bountiful.
Yeah, it's gonna, whether we end up having 2 reports from different departments or 1.
Sure.
Right now it's generally 1, sometimes none. But that might then double up for that meeting, so that's gonna make it longer too. And, I guess I don't know, do we know at all if the other, is that the kind of the format that the Big Lake has? Do they have that second meeting at all, or are they just strictly 1 meeting and that's it?
So Mayor and Council, they went down to strictly 1 meeting with the ability to call a special meeting if needed.
Okay.
So same kind of structure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and it'd be interesting to see, if they've done it for, I don't even know when they started, but to kind of look and see how often. They're bigger than us, so there's a chance that they might have to call, but it would be kind of interesting to see if they've had to call any. Thus far, we could look and see how many special meetings they had to call, but.
And Mayor and Council, they're not a charter city, so when passing ordinances, they don't require the 2 readings. They haven't put that in their line of needs.
Okay.
In general, I know she's just, to your point, she's just asking, are we at least thinking it's a possibility, so
Yeah.
she should spend the time
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah, I
so.
think it's okay to look
Yeah.
into. I don't.
Go, Amy?
Well, I guess my first thought was, oh, wow, that would be great just to have 1 meeting. But then I thought about it, and what I think I would like to keep the second meeting as tentative or on the calendar, and then we could cancel it if we really didn't need it. But I would like to see, kind of like what Kevin said, that maybe we could use that second meeting as work session instead of having our work sessions on another Monday or whatever day. Because I do think it's reasonable for us to have 2 meetings per month, but sometimes when we have a couple work sessions, like this month or next month, then there's 3 meetings in a month, and that can get to be kind of a lot, where I think that if we had the work sessions on the same night that we had a meeting, and maybe it's specifically on those second meetings, you know, that tentative one, versus having 3 meetings in a month. I guess I'd like a happy medium, not go to 1, but not have 3. So however the wording is on that, I would be good with that. But I did like what Kevin said about, maybe we could, on that second meeting, we could, you know, maybe learn a little bit more about something in a department, or kind of like we learn about things in a work session. I guess I would like to see the work sessions be moved to that second meeting. Maybe not all the time, but I think I would stick with the 2 meetings. And if we could ever cancel that second one, we could always cancel it. It's better to cancel it than not have it on the books, I think, on the calendar.
Yep, and Mayor and Council, the one thing is to cancel meetings is sometimes a little tougher than to schedule them.
Oh,
So let me speak with our legal team about that, because there are different requirements on both sides. So I would just want to say, let me look into that before we go too far.
okay.
So
That makes sense. Well, and thirdly, about the charter, if that would be where we went to one meeting and somebody said, oh yeah, see, there's another reason for us to get rid of the charter, I would not be up for that at all. If because we're having only one meeting, if that's what we chose, and then we couldn't do that second reading and then of the ordinances that we need to, and it just stretched it out even longer. I don't want to stretch out any charter requirements any longer than they are. So I definitely would not be up for one meeting if it was going to cause any difficulty with the charter. That's my feeling.
Joe?
I have no problem going to one meeting and leaving the second one tentative as needed. I think what we run into often with the public is we're often accused of hiding things or, you know, pushing things through, things like that, which I wouldn't agree with being a part of the process. When I was on their side of the table, I probably felt the same way. Not gonna lie about that. But I think too, it's with, as long as the land use stuff is gonna require to, that's the biggest, I think, vocalness that we get from the public is when it comes to land use things or buildings going in. I don't like the way our process is set up. We do it by the rules, but and it's all by state law. But I think it drives me nuts just the way you don't really hear from the public. Granted, I do think the public could be more aware of things, and we all have busy lives. I get that too. It's priorities and where we put our priorities. And then at the last minute, we always get the pushback with land use things because that's when the notices go out. So a lot of it has to do with the process and the way that's set up. So as long as we're doing what we need to do to let them know what we need to let them know, and can act with that, I think you can always call a special meeting or a work session and have that. But the special meeting situation cannot be one of those types of situations. Even when we're as open as we are and do everything by the book, we still get accused of nobody told me about this, things like that. So to avoid those type of situations, it's best to be more proactive in those situations. But keeping it tentative makes sense because obviously you have to have something there if you need it, and to schedule one isn't that difficult. Notices, it's 3-day notice, I think. So as far as pay, I have no issue with that either. I don't know if that's a charter in the charter or not, the way they structure that or not, but something to look into.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just kind of what Joe was saying too, you know, I wouldn't want to just have one meeting and we come and we just vote on things and have no discussion, and kind of looks like we're having the meeting before the meeting or having the meeting after the meeting and just coming here to vote. I wouldn't want that to be in any chance seen that way. So I would be more likely probably to stick with the second meeting also. But what the school board does is they have 2 meetings per month. And it's scheduled out for at the beginning of the year. Their first meeting of the month is a regular meeting where people can speak, just like we have the open session. And then the second one is always a work session. And so again, it does make it so that the public can't speak at that one, but that is what the school board does and has for quite some time. And so I don't know, that's just the way, and I'm not familiar with how you said we can't just have a special meeting for those reasons, Joe. So like, I don't know the reasons why we can call a special meeting or why we can't.
You can call a special meeting for anything, pretty much.
Oh, maybe I
One-
misheard you.
One member and, well, the mayor can call one. I think it's 2 members of council need to call one.
And mayor and council, I think we would have to make that call at the first meeting, like as a group of 5. I would never want to be trying to schedule anything
Right.
like that after. So that would
Right.
either be made at that first meeting where staff would actually have to ask for it if it's an ordinance situation that we need that second meeting. But I believe that would be something that we would have to call at that first meeting. Otherwise, it's going to not only get really messy, but it could get really questionable with transparency.
Right.
So that would be just a standing item, with the administrative report. Do we need the second meeting or not is how I see that. I
Rather have
wouldn't
it
want to
to
be
the next
chasing
month.
after,
Oh,
yeah.
that's good.
So, yeah, that's,
And I think too, just to address something you just mentioned as well, a lot of it is public perception. Again, I had a completely different perception when I was on the other side of the table. So I do understand where people are coming from with a lot of things. I think our first meeting or the one originally scheduled meeting would probably be longer because we'd have more to discuss on those items. But with calling that second meeting and perception and all that, I mean, I think that's the biggest hurdle that we have is perception and what's going on, what doesn't go on. So when you vote on something, I encourage everybody, members of council, residents, whatever. A lot of times I call and I talk to staff on questions that I have so that I understand it. We get the packets Thursday, we kind of digest them. You can digest them over the weekend, whatever. And then Monday I'll make the phone calls that I need to make. That way I have a little bit of time before the meeting too, to kind of, if I have questions or I'm, debating something with myself as far as what does this mean? How does this affect things? I have that time ahead of time. So when we do vote for things and it looks like we're just voting, that's not necessarily the reality of what it is, but I can understand that the perception can be that. So I just wanted to clear that up too.
I'm hearing everybody and I'm kind of somewhat in between. I'm not opposed to researching it. My general thought is I'd be perfectly happy sticking with 2 meetings a month and just not any work sessions. All the work session stuff would come to regular meetings. We've done a lot of 15-minute, half an hour meetings. That just doesn't seem worth the time to open the doors and do it. Whereas I'd rather, I personally, I don't see a lot in work session that can't happen in general meeting. I know somebody can maybe speak better to that, but so I'd rather just keep 2 meetings and basically eliminate all, you can't eliminate all of them. There may be something special that pops up here or there, but I'd rather not have any special meetings and just put it as part of the agenda. I don't know what really happens in this. I've been in multiple of them already, but what happens in a special meeting that can't happen at a regular meeting?
mayor and council, to call a special meeting is essentially a regular meeting. The work session is usually
I'm sorry,
items.
work
brought-
session. I'm
Yep,
using the wrong
yep.
terminology.
Usually work sessions are just discussion items, introductions. We could have put a topic like this, right? To talk through a topic like this. We have been talking as our department head group of getting all of the items on regular meetings. So I know Darcy had looked at scheduling some work sessions for budget. We've moved all of that to regular meetings. Fanning that out, right? Trying to get pieces at their appropriate times throughout the year. But no, work sessions, right? They require a lot of scheduling. Timing is a lot of times the issue. We don't have to have work sessions. It's just usually topics that are more of a discussion than a vote. And the voted items are typically go straight to council, but we can have discussion items on a regular council meeting as well.
Work sessions just typically go longer, I think, so that
Yeah.
for the, I mean, and I'm not, obviously, we're dedicated to be here for this purpose, so I mean, if they end up going till 10:30, that's what it is, right?
People can tune out too, you know, and then go back later and pick up where they left off.
But that would be, I think, I'm guessing that's one of the main reasons that you have them too.
I still think you get more let's just say you had 2 regularly scheduled meetings that had everything. We always put our work sessions and everything on them. I think you'd get slightly more attendance at that than scheduling a special work session outside of the norm. I don't know, that's my feeling. And again, I'm here, I'm in. If I just feel if we're here, just take advantage of it. If we gotta go 2-3 hours, I don't want a 3-hour meeting, but if that's what it's gotta be, I'd rather do that
One way
than
you're
come back
here,
for
one day
another.
you're here another day, so.
Right. I'd rather do that than come back another time. So that's just,
With essentials too, like Dave maybe wouldn't have to be here for a work session or the whole work session. For the whole meeting, you know, Dave wouldn't have to be here. We're imposing on some people's time, but like Joe said, or you said, we're committed to the cause. We're here for whatever purpose is needed of, you know, our obligation. But I think it'd be more of a burden too for Kate and Jenny and Darcy to try to bundle stuff up for the first meeting. And then some stuff trickles in later on to make sure it's a bountiful meeting. And then something happens, you know, something comes in later on for the second meeting. So the bulk would be on you, or would change some calendar items too, or Jody, as far as, oh, we really gotta get this talked about. But we're gonna have a meeting and, you know, I think it'd be easier to make a work session as part of the regular meeting and include those things. Like I say, we're here for the duration, we're here for the cause, so.
and I mean, it led some regularity to it, both for our schedule and the public schedule.
Right.
We know it's gonna be first Monday and the third Monday.
Yeah,
Unless there's a holiday.
And yeah, unless it's a holiday.
and we
And
do it on Tuesday. I have some cities that don't do Tuesdays, they get paid anyway. I always disagreed with that, but,
and occasionally I know there'll be something even outside of maybe those 2 regularly scheduled meetings. But I personally, I'm perfectly comfortable having these kind of discussions right at a regular board meeting.
Yeah.
So I don't,
I would agree.
that helpful? Do we leave it clear as mud again or?
Yes, absolutely. No, so Mayor and Council, so what I'm understanding is we leave our 2 meetings and we put all work session items on there. Or we have one and like you all gave a very different answer. So is that where consensus is to leave it? Keep the 2 standing meetings and just put all items and get rid of work sessions?
As long as it's doable, I think that's probably the best.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Why don't
Thank
you go
you.
first, Mark?
What's that?
Why don't you go first, Mark?
On voting?
No, I was gonna say,
Oh.
that's a lot of time.
Sorry, I always I always want to hear you guys' perspective. So, all right.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Now we're on to new business item B, adopt resolution requesting general election post-election review. And I mean, I'll kind of address this first. It's exactly what it's sad. I know Sarah and you and I have talked about it. I don't like generally using resolutions to try and communicate. But we sent it out to Anoka County and I checked with Kate again today. We got nothing. We got nothing from them. And there's 7 other cities that have already done this because they have the same concern we do. And for the general public, really what it comes down to is this. Anoka County, I may have Jenny speak to it better, but a post-election review is where you request, right now it's just done randomly by the county. And I think, what is it, 8 cities, Jenny? I'm sorry,
State statute requires 4
4. Okay.
precincts. Anoka County in the last general election did pull an additional 4 at the request of, I mean, I don't think it was a formal request, but they just wanted to show a good faith of counting ballots and doing a post-election review.
So there's 4.
But state statute requires only 4 precincts in Anoka County.
So state requires 4 random and Anoka County's bumped it up to 8 random, but I still believe, I can't understand why the resistance to, if a city wanted to do a review, why they couldn't pay for it and do it. And the other catch about the whole 8, that when the county just does 8 randomly, it's only doing the top of the ballot. It doesn't come down to city elections. It doesn't go, it does not go down ballot. It only does like the top
2 or 3.
2 or 3 races. And I think that's wrong. If it ever came up, I don't, as I said before, I don't see any evidence of it, or I'd be screaming bloody murder. But if we ever had concerns about our election system and we wanted to do basically what's it's a post-election review is like a hand count. And we as a city would have to pay for it if we requested it. But they're denying us to see it. And I don't understand why, if we wanted to pay to see it, why can't we see that? So that's what this resolution, in a nutshell, that's what this resolution's about. So, when anybody want to weigh in, feel free to weigh in. Joel, I'll start with you.
Well, I was reading it and to me, excuse me, it says that if we were selected, we'd request to have all of them. So if they happen to select one of us, one of our precincts, we'd want the rest of them done. That's basically what it says. So it doesn't necessarily say anything other than that. So if we're not selected, it doesn't matter, so to speak, from what I read. If I'm
Yeah, and I wish Dave, were you here?
missed something.
Mayor and Council, so item number 2 is if we are not selected, that they pull a second lot that includes us.
Okay.
And then the third one is that, so one of them is if we are selected and then if we aren't selected. So
I didn't
they
miss
do.
that.
Yeah, this is the same resolution that many other cities use, so.
Right.
Correct.
Hey, where'd he come from?
Thank you, Dave.
Is Dave's here?
Yes.
Your disembodied voice, Dave.
Anything else, Joe?
No, when I was reading that, I was like, that doesn't make much sense to, why would they not do that? But that clears it up for me as far as that goes. So then if we're not selected, we say, do one of ours anyway, or do all of them anyway? I mean, help me understand that better. So in the event that it says in the event St. Francis election precinct is not selected for a post-election review of the general election, the city council requests that Anoka County Canvassing Board perform a second lot selection that includes us. So it says St. Francis precinct, so that's all of them.
Mhm.
So we want it done no matter what, based on this.
Correct.
Yes.
No, I'm good now. I don't know how I missed that, but all right.
All right. Amy?
I don't have any questions. I guess, well, what is the cost if we ask for that?
Boy,
I guess I did have a
it
question.
was roughly thrown out, the last I heard, like a couple $1,000 if we decided to do that. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Just the rough number that some.
That was
point-
somebody else's numbers though too,
Yeah.
right? That was ACID,
Could be,
wasn't it?
could be, yes.
And is,
That's the only numbers I.
So I don't have a good answer to that. I don't know.
and is it really hand counted or do they just put it through the machine
No,
again?
it's hand count.
Hand count.
There's election judges are pulled, and if our city is selected in a post-election review, we as a city are required to send election judges down there and they hand count every ballot from each precinct.
Okay.
Anything else?
Mm-mm.
Sarah?
No, I'm just gonna say that we can do a resolution, or you can choose to do this resolution. But if Anoka County says you can't do it, we still can't do it, correct?
That is correct.
So again, I'm not in favor of putting things on a record just to put something on a record because we have no teeth behind it. It does nothing except for say, we want to do it and Anoka County is saying no. And to me, that's not worth the resolution. So that's where I stand on it.
Just, I mean, to kind of answer that, I'm not answering it completely, but to kind of answer that. I mean, Anoka County is presenting itself as they are election official for us. And if we have, in several other cities, which there are at least 7 that have passed this already, are all saying the same thing. I would hope that Anoka County would represent us and then appeal it to the state and go to the state and say, hey, we've got 8 cities now that are asking for this.
And I guess if I saw Anoka County doing that, I would be more likely to support a resolution. To have a resolution just for the sake of having a resolution when there's nothing you can do about it, to me, doesn't make sense. That's
That's where the bottom up movement is with these resolutions is the idea is. that you get
Amen.
enough cities
I
on board.
understand that, but I'm still, I mean, I think every county in Anoka could do it, and if Anoka County doesn't want to do it, because it is more work for them, it is more money, it's time, are we gonna get election judges who will do that? Because 90% of elected judges are on the way out, and we're not getting a whole lot of new ones in. It's hard to get election judges. It's hard. So when you start putting extra hours and some nights, even without just waiting for everything to get done, these elected judges who are 80 years old are out till 10, 11, 12, 1, 2 in the morning. I'm not sure that you're gonna get them to do anymore. That's where I'm at, and I just, if I saw Anoka County being willing, but I've seen no movement on their part, and I don't think that they're going to. I just don't. I mean, I think a lot of cities could tell them what they want, and still logistically for them, it doesn't make sense.
Fair enough. Thanks, sir.
Hmm?
Kevin?
That one where Dave popped in, is that on part of his retainer?
Yes,
Pay extra for that, do we?
I didn't know.
I think no reply from the county speaks volumes. You know, as much as we've talked about in the other cities that have requested, we're willing to pay for it, we're willing to toe the line. And like Joe said, it's from the bottom up. If enough people ask about it, maybe they'll change the tune, but they didn't answer, they haven't replied at all. Not at all. And so that to me, that tells you everything you need to know, that all the more reason to go for it, and then rather than vote against it, so.
Anybody else? Anything else you want to say?
I just had a general
Sure.
question. So how many election judges do we have? And are they always the same? And do they get paid? Like, tell me about it.
Okay, so we are required to have 4 election judges per precinct.
Okay.
We do have more than that. They are not always the same. I do have to do quite a bit of marketing and calling around and trying to get election judges back. As Sarah mentioned, most of my election judges are at a higher age. And it can be a very long day, especially the general election could be up to 16 to 18 hours, depending on what they've signed up for. They don't have to sign up for that, but most of them do. And yes, they do get paid. So we have an election judge pay, and then a head election judge, because each precinct requires a head election judge to run, which everybody goes through training. But there really is no such thing as a volunteer anymore when it comes to elections. I have had one person opt out of being paid, but yeah, that's.
And they have to live here in our
No.
precinct?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope, they can live in Minneapolis and come up here. They can live in Duluth and come down here. The only thing is they cannot serve in a precinct if their name is on the ballot, or if they have a next of kin on the ballot, which is an immediate relative. So a spouse, a sibling, a child, a parent.
So just an example, I'm not on the ballot this year. I could be an election judge.
I believe so,
Here?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Kind of weird.
It's kind of weird.
I would have to look into that. I guess I've never had anybody question that. I don't know if a standing elected official could.
I feel like someone in a
I
city near
will
us
check into
did
that and get back to you.
Okay. I was just curious.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Go ahead,
I
Kevin.
don't think the judges should really have a bearing on it. I mean, if we need to raise the salary, or, again, everything costs money. People's time costs money.
Right.
You're a valuable asset as well. But this isn't really a judge issue. This is a integrity issue. And it's a request by a city to the mothership can we do this if we're willing to toe to the line?
We actually lead the salary amount or wages amount for city in Anoka County because we were having issues and you guys had raised the wages.
It's an important
before.
job.
But yeah, I mean, these people have to take time off of their regular job, which is
Sure.
the vacation day. They don't get paid from their regular job for it. Their employer has to let them take the time off. But I mean, it's a personal choice, and it's not, nobody has ever said, well, I don't make enough money. It's just the fact that I don't have available people that are willing to do it. And some of the people that I do have, last minute, something comes up and then I'm in a frenzy trying to reschedule and I mean, it's a workaround and I mean, the election judges that I have are absolutely amazing. I appreciate all of them very much. It's just sometimes they can show up for the primary, but can't make it for the general. And, you know, it's training in a new election judges. It's time consuming and they go through their 2 hours of training, but having experienced election judges does help the process go a lot faster. So.
Sure. I understand, and I appreciate the heck out of those guys too, but to me, this is not a judge issue, this is a voter integrity issue. And that's where my focus would be on it.
Any other discussion? So do I have a motion to approve resolution 2026-08 requesting general election post-review election?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilman Founas. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Robinson. This is a roll call vote. Is that correct? Nope.
Resolution.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
4-1, it passes. On to meeting open to the public. Anybody wishing to speak, come forward, please. Hello, Aaron.
Hello,
notice you.
Mayor, council members. Thank you for passing this resolution. ASAP, thanks you very much. And the citizens, thank you. The citizens I've spoken with, thank you very much. I don't know. I remember sending some of you guys the video too that also discussed the statute about what Anoka County is ignoring. And that might pertain to some of the stuff too that we were talking about. But, you know, again, thank you for very much for passing this. But it's like, to me, where's the controversy in having integrity in your elections to re-verify them? You know, yeah, it does cost money. And it's just like, yeah, I get it. There's not a lot of people that want to do civic duty things anymore. And I think that falls kind of not necessarily a little bit maybe on the city, but, you know, it falls kind of on the schools. You know, they're more busy about teaching things that don't pertain to civics and or governance that doesn't pertain to our type of governance. So, but again, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everything you guys do. Thank you.
Aaron.
Can you leave your name and number with Jenny for judgeship? If you're not in the precinct already.
Hello, Mike.
Hello, Mayor, Council, staff, Mike Roger. Thanks for the newsletter. I read it and I have a few questions. Thanks, Todd. Your in-depth report was appreciated and keep up the great work, you and your team. Same with you, Paul. Couple things that struck me on there was one, Mr. Mayor, you wrote that Highway 47 was going to be started in 27. Further, in another article in that paper, it says 28. So which is it, 27, 28?
A little of both, but I just had this conversation with Kate. So you got to keep in mind, when I write the article, I had to write that over a month ago. So at that point in time, it was 2027 and we had seen the first prelim that may be 2028. So that's really what it comes down to.
So my understanding is that we got grant, the state takes care of everything above ground and we're responsible for everything below ground. So if we don't get a grant from the state for stuff below ground, how do you plan on paying for it? Are you going to ask Mikey Powell to pay more money? I mean,
We're
right, our taxes go up, but we get less, right? That's right.
You want me to?
Go ahead.
Yeah, rough answer is we're working on it and we've already secured some money. I'll let Kate talk about that. She mentioned it in her article. We've secured some and we're waiting right now. We went down and we made our appeal here. One was at Summer here. Mr. Robinson, myself, staff went down there. We're lobbying our legislature to get more grant money for the underground portion. So it's in process. We're doing everything we can. We've got a lobbyist firm. We're working with them on that. But Kate, do you want to give them some numbers to that or?
Yep, Mayor and Council, so far we've secured $2 million federal appropriations for the underground work.
Do we have an estimated cost of what it's gonna cost for the underground stuff? And are we gonna take Musa up to further north of town so we can possibly maybe promote selling that 40 acres we own?
That 40 acres is way too far, Mike. That's Steve's dream that I could discuss that with you later, but it's. Steve had a nice thought, but I mean, you're looking at millions of dollars to get that pipe down to that business district area. I know he wanted to, but I mean, realistically, that's not gonna happen for a long, long time, if it does.
Okay, thank you. To touch on what Tina Carroll said, don't we have a noise ordinance in this city? So why can't we enforce that, put noise ordinance enforced and maybe stop some of them from waking them up?
I'm not familiar with the ordinance, so sorry, I can't answer that. I don't, maybe. Todd or-
Because I know I got a guy that lives next door to me, he's a tenant, and he parks his semi in the driveway. It's really nice waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to hear something like that firing up. You know, Mark, maybe I'll give you a call when he fires that up and you can share a cup of coffee with me at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I don't know. I plead,
Those-
I'm
those are-
I'm not pleading ignorance, but I don't notice it. Todd or Kate, do you know anything about our current noise, excuse me, ordinance?
Well,
So-
I can hear that semi go through every night. Every night it go, I can write it down if you want me to, because I can hear it. And that's an illegal noise.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to put a Jake brake on at 4 o'clock in the morning. Being with codes, I was looking, I'm sorry, Jody, I kind of stealing some of your thunder here. I was looking at codes in code enforcement. In 2020, we had 120 properties. In 2025, we got 73. Why such a big difference? Or are we not just enforcing the codes anymore?
2020. In 2020, everybody was home. A lot of people were home. And there was a lot of home sales between 2020 and 2022 as well. And so people were a little more particular on all of the parked cars on lawns and junk and debris. That's what my guess would be.
Did we have a code enforcement officer in 2020?
I believe that we had Lyle helping with some of the
Courtesy calls or them.
courtesy. Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing I read in your report was that permit fees are down. And I did the math for you. $944,190.50. How do we recover that?
Permit fees were down. Well, they were up because we had two projects, the first being Vista Prairie at Eagle Point, and the AutoZone permit as well
And that was for 2024.
for 2024.
But
So
2025, we don't, our permit fees are down. Property values are down 5.4%, yet our taxes are up 16.5% for city. I mean, that's like going to the drive-through, McDonald's drive-through and getting shorted French fries. We pay more and we get less. When are we going to stop paying more and getting less? If we can't find anywhere to cut money, we have to have a plan to create money. I mean, if I need extra money, I go out to the garage, fire up my saws, and I build something and sell it. Obviously, the city can't do that, but there are steps that we can take to ease some of the bleeding that we got going on. Kevin, you talked about COLAs. What is the COLA going to be for this year? 3%?
Probably so.
3%. So we have to find another 3% for the next year's budget. Am I correct?
I mean, it's, all your taxes are, I can say this straight face to anybody, your taxes are always gonna go up.
Yet we don't, again, we're going through the drive-through, we pay more and get less. I was in agreement with Mike Powell when he said that we spent extra money landscaping this place. We really should have never redid those wood chips because they stopped using fabric under wood chips many years ago. That was money to me that I thought was poorly spent. Those are the kinds of things that we need to stop. We got to start getting creative. You know, we got the sanding land we could sell, but you talk about the bio waste. Why not pay a farmer and give him some property tax relief to have it spread there and generate some income? I had spoken with some other neighboring cities, and one of the things I was told was that Rogers has a city tax. We got to do 47, correct? No way about it. Who uses 47 besides the citizens of St. Francis? Oak Grove, Now Then, people in Ogilvy, Bradford. How come they going to help pay for it? That's my question. I mean, it's something to think about. Yeah, I hate that adding a tax, a wheelage tax, any kind of tax, but if it's going to help us here, I think everybody should have to pay to use the road, period. You know, I mean, there's reason why, Mike, you said you're from Illinois, correct? They got toll booths down there. One of the other things I said and seen in the, that's something to think about, Mark. I also heard Cambridge is doing that. An interesting fact about Cambridge is they haven't raised property taxes up there in the city since 2020. And I mentioned this to you before. Did you happen to have a chance to call up there and find out what they're doing different?
You might want to make sure that that's, so the tax rate compared to the tax dollars are very different. I think with costs of everything going up, that they're probably getting more money, I'm guessing, but and maybe they're building more as well, obviously. But I would double check that because I used to always get confused on the tax rate versus the tax percentage. It's goofy the way they do it. But
Maybe commercial's getting the burden too, and the residents don't see it.
that could be too.
That's very possible, but we should find out what they're doing different than we are. So severe weather awareness month, is that this month? April. I've been up here before and I said this, when I sit in my yard, I can't hear the siren. And last time they put a siren east of town and they can hear it, but if you listen well enough, and as I get older, I don't hear as well, but you can very faintly hear it. And I'd like to see something done about that so we can hear a warning siren and not be caught with our pants down around our ankles trying to find shelter. Back then, I questioned how the golf course warns their golfers out there when there's inclement weather like that, and they have a horn or siren or something there. Maybe the city can team up with the golf course and put a tornado siren up there and make it a double amenity deal where everybody gets to enjoy the benefit of it, or Oak Grove for that matter. But we all know where that will go. That's all I have. I think we need to start coming up with a plan rather than worrying about a flag that hangs from the flagpole. We should start worrying about how we're going to stop the bleeding out of everybody's pocketbooks here. That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. It's all good. It's all good.
As Mike told you, knee replacement. Again, Tina Carroll, just a few different questions. One, Jenny, how do you go about getting new, voting judges or election judges?
So I put in our quarterly newsletter, I will put an ad. We use social media also to push it out. And then I ask the election judges to ask anybody that they know.
Okay, I was just curious how you get that word out, so.
Yep.
And as far as you guys were talking about the meetings, 1 meeting, 2 meetings, I have to say I liked your guys' idea of maybe trying to push everything into one meet, like the main meat and potatoes into 1 meeting if we can. And leave the second meeting more so for, because right now you have work sessions where people can't really say anything at those work sessions, which is not right in my opinion, because you're here talking about things. We should be able to put our input in. But maybe on that second meeting, you have where something special can come up if it needs to, but set it up where you do discuss the budget at that second meeting. And bring in a head of one department. And you go through line by line, because I have reviewed that budget and I'm sorry, when you see miscellaneous or other, because it doesn't fit in one of the in the little things, I don't know what it is. And I should be able to know where that money is going. And I have to call Darcy in order to find that out. And she's not gonna send me a list of every single item that falls into that other. I can't see it. But I think you would get more community input as well to help try and save money. Because there is a lot of bleeding and we need to stop. I mean, I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on that, but I believe that the community needs to be involved in the budget. Yes, we elect you to do that, but we should be allowed to understand it and know where that money is going and maybe help try and save money. Because we need to stop spending so much money. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes. I'm Wendell Gordon. I've been here 4 years now, and I've been sitting and listening to this. I'm 88 years old, probably older than anybody in this room. And I've been around the world and back, and I was on the Champlain probably over 20 years of commission there. And I think the cities are spending too much money elsewhere. And I just don't know where all this money's going. It just keeps dragging. Like the gentleman said, you're paying more and getting less to wherever you go. So I don't have too much else to say, but the only thing I do have to say about the city, and I read it on my phone, I don't have a computer. I don't need one because I've got along this many years. But I do have to say that I congratulate you for keeping that our state flag up. I'll ask anybody, how did the state ever pass that new flag ordinance without having the consumer vote on it? I've been over to Capitol, and boy, you talk about getting run around over there. You can't get an answer out of anybody over there. Well, go here, go there, and whatever. It's like getting on your phone and you get 10 different numbers. So how did we come about that was able to keep our flag? Now, are we going to go eventually and put the new state flag up or not?
Currently, the intention is no. So the state statute does not require us to fly any flag, state flag at all. And there's no specifics that they have to fly whatever one they adopted at the Capitol, but the cities are left at their own discretion.
So we're left with this one. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendell. Anybody else? Moving on. Jody.
You're gonna skip Kate.
Oh, sorry. Sorry,
You gotta
Kate.
skip-
Didn't want to skip Kate. Sorry, Kate.
That's okay.
Go, Kate.
Just a couple updates. We've already briefly talked about MinDOT. Just to let you know, the pre-design and environmental is out for staff signatures. They are about to take that over at the state and it will go to final design and then they will go out to bid in 2027. We are working on the website, the new website. They have given us a go live date that I don't believe we're ready for. What they did is they took our old website, they picked it up and they plopped it in a new platform. And it is a mess. So there are 3 of us working a lot of different hours trying to get it to make sense. We'll see how far we can get before it goes live, but it'll be a continuous improvement on that website. I would guess for 3 to 6 months, we'll be messing around in there. So it's on its way. It's a lot easier to find things. But right now things are kind of everywhere. So we're working on that. And then also the March 23rd work session is scheduled for interviews for the finance director. So just to remind you of that one, that is scheduled and its purpose. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't, if I could need to go in order. Anybody got questions for
I
Kate?
have no questions this
Okay.
time. Appreciate the report, Kate.
Nothing, thank you.
Thanks, Kate. Now, Jody. Sorry.
Mayor and Council, before you tonight is a 2025 Annual Department Report for Community Development. The core functions of community development include building and code inspections, planning and zoning, economic development, communications, code enforcement, and rental and housing programs, housing programs. The department has 4 positions that administer and complete responsibilities of all programs and work closely together to keep St. Francis competitive, successful in its development and successful in its development needs. The department also relies on support and efforts of cities consultants, including planning, engineering, and legal.
Jody, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can we share screen on that report?
Mark's computer doesn't.
No, it's not even that. I'm just saying even the public can't see it when she's discussing it. So I don't, is it possible? I don't know. Sorry, Jody. For the public's sake and anybody watching, I can get my computer back up. That's not a problem.
Sure you can.
You just had bad luck.
read it, Mark.
Mike already read it. Wendell and Aaron probably want to see it. See, there we go. If we can't, we can't, but I would love that. Okay, super. Thank you. I get it. Super. Thank you, Jenny. Thanks, Jody.
Yeah, no problem. So I'll walk you through the report to highlight a few items, starting with economic development. The department continues to work with project concepts and property sales for economic growth and opportunities. I did put the city hall on there only because it is currently being used for the city council and fire district meetings, but it also is a space where the Chamber of Commerce monthly meetings are in this space here. It's large enough. The meetings have grown. We will be hosting our senior resource fair here. And so this building has become an invaluable community asset for sure. The property to the north of City Hall, across the street, North Shore Development Partners, we are working with them currently. They have somewhat shown us that they plan to submit a concept for a townhouse community. And as I said, we're still working through some engineering and planning questions that they have. The property at 3518, this is a property south of Casey's. This is listed for sale and we've recently had some inquiries come in about the property. Staff is still working with the Rum River Inn, the new owners for the Rum River Inn. They've come in to talk to us a few times and we've offered a guide to help them with the various city, local, state codes governing the site. More information will be shared with them. They want us to work through some of their ideas as well. 3503 was the former Hiller property, known as the Rum River Preserve of St. Francis. Most recently, I've had some contact with them. They've asked for some comprehensive statistical and demographic data to help assist in them finding some high-quality commercial tenants and some businesses. Let's see, with initiatives and marketing, staff continues to reach out to commercial developers and residential developers for some projects. We've had them reach out to us as well. We continue to work with the Anoka County Regional Economic Development Group. And we also partner with the St. Francis Chamber of Commerce, providing logistical, strategic, and practical support for their efforts as well. As for broadband, I did, add some of the projects that they had pulled some right-of-way permits. I'm not seeing that it really extends it throughout the northern part of the city, but they are upgrading their fiber optic cable lines to the following projects that I have on here. The St. Francis Economic Development Authority had 2 meetings in 2025. During the meetings, they entered into a purchase agreement with the North Shore Development Partners Group, and they also gave the executive director, the authority to list the property at 3518 Bridge Street. The farmer's market is in its just completed its 3rd season. We actually had record setting attendance. We had about 450 visitors each week over the 16-week season. 9 community groups registered, and as well as 25 vendors. This year in 2025, we added live music to make the market a special gathering, even better place for people to come. And we got a lot of positive feedback about that. So we will be doing that again. As far as residential development, housing inventory remains constrained, mostly because of low inventory. The sales price in St. Francis did drop 5.4% from 2024 down to 338. However, that is 12.5% higher than the 2021 level. This change suggests the market is stabilizing due to several years of strong appreciation. And then as far as land use development, staff continues to provide technical assistance to housing developers. The Bluffs of Rum River had amended their preliminary plat and for approval in August of 2025. The final plat was submitted in September of 2025, but it was deemed incomplete. We continue to work with them on providing the materials that were needed by engineering, planning, and the county. Eagle Point Vista Prairie, the senior living project, welcomed its first tenant November 12th of 2025. This building consists of 65 independent, 40 assisted living, 24 memory care, and 8 care suites. The property at 3731, which is directly across the street, we're in talks with them again about the townhouse community that they're going to be presenting likely by the end of March. River's Edge Development in 2025, their 8th edition final plat was approved. This final plat includes 29 lots on the west end of the development. This is their final phase, so they will be complete after their 8th edition. Dalton River Villas, the final plat was approved in November of 2025 for 19 lots. Construction began in December and is located off of Ambassador Boulevard and Woodbine Street. As far as commercial development, we had a couple of large projects. The First Baptist Church started construction on a 6,000 square foot building addition. You may have seen it. They just completed that in January. And the Ott Medical Building also did a lower level construction project, and Compound Fitness Gym is actually occupying it right now and doing well. The Planning Commission met 6 times in 2025, working its way through code updates and developments. The Planning Commission had 1 vacancy pretty much the whole entire year, and it was filled in December. During the year, they made recommendations to council on developments, which was the Bluffs of Rum River, River's Edge 8th, Dalton River, and the St. Francis Apartments concept. They also touched on the IUP for the solar farm, the Northrop Grumman Cedar Creek Energy Solar Farm driveway, and as well as ordinance amendments to the housekeeping updates that we do every year. And then a text amendment to solar energy systems, accessory structure sizes, and stormwater management. There was also a rezoning and comprehensive plan amendment for the property, the chiropractic building at 23671, and that was rezoned and from I-1 General Industrial to the B2 General Business Commercial District. As far as building department, permit revenue is down and down this year, especially compared from last year, due to in 2024, they had a couple of large commercial permits that had come through, one being Vista Prairie and the other one being AutoZone. This year, the permit revenue is down, and mostly because of, from what we can tell, maybe increased cost in permit fees and that type of thing. Permit revenue does not necessarily correlate with the number of permits and workload by staff. In 2025, 75% of the city's permit fees were flat fee permits, which typically do not require a review and only require one inspection. These permits require almost as much administrative time, primarily completed by Lisa Stowell, to process the permits that require evaluation. In 2025, there were a total of 568 permits, a decrease in 13.8%. It's about 91 permits year over year in difference. Below is the historical data for all single-family construction permits. The highest year tracked was in 2017 with 70 new home permits in a single year. Every permit brings a value to the community through improvement, supporting sustainability and ongoing value, and the improved structure in 2025, we saw a strong increase in residential improvement activity, indicating reinvestment in existing housing stock. While new construction slowed slightly, commercial valuation declined from 2024 levels. Last year's commercial totals were influenced by a single one-time project. The Vista Prairie project brought in $29 million. Higher material and labor costs may be contributing to the shifts. Code enforcement is an ongoing function of staff and managed by the community development specialist with inspection support from the building official. You'll see in 2025, there were 73 properties to address complaints that required an administrative notice be sent. Of the notices, 6 properties received citations. The top 3 complaints were vehicles, parking issues, junk and debris, and work without a permit. There was one large code enforcement case that required city council review in 2025. The property at 243rd Avenue had come to council here and requested an extension. They worked with staff to clean up the property. To date, the property met the requirement of each interim checkpoint and is considered a code enforcement success. We continue with the transition of BSNA. It was implemented in 2023. We're still working through implementing the online permitting system. The rental license program, this year, as of right now, we have 119 rental properties registered with the city, and this is a slight increase from 2024, which had 114. The vacant registration program is another one that we do manage. There is one known property that we track, and that's Rum River Inn. There were also 4 properties that registered that have since been reoccupied. And this concludes my report. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thanks, Jody.
Thank you.
Just want to go down the line, Joe.
I have no questions. Thank you very much.
Amy?
I just have one question about the farmer's market. Was in previous years, was it more along 47 in the parking lot? And this year it was more in the park?
Yeah,
Did you
so.
notice any changes there? Like
At the
maybe-
beginning of it, we noticed a little bit. It was harder for people to get up into the park all the way. We had some weather issues, things like that. But I did bring it back down to the parking lot. Not in the parking lot, but to kind of off the trail that
Closer.
intersected with the parking lot. Great feedback on that. Actually, attendance picked up and people loved it. And so I'm going to do that again this year. I'm just going to start it right there.
Oh, good.
And
Because
so-
because it being in the parking lot, there was not that many places to park then.
Right.
I mean, there was plenty, but, so yeah, that was good. I wasn't able to attend after you made the change, so. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure
yeah, you'll
how
have to
that
come,
affected it.
have to come this summer. As I said, I received tons of feedback after we moved it and people really, really enjoyed it. And then we started the live music and, you know, we consistently had 2 or 3 food trucks. Yeah, and it just ended up being a nice event every single week. And so this year we're going to start with live music as well. And, it'll be located there, but yeah. Yeah, the parking lot it ended up just, it kept expanding. And 3/4 of the parking lot was being taken up by
Great.
the vendors. And so I had people complaining that there was no place to park. So yeah, and I understood that.
Thank you.
Sarah?
I did not have any questions either. Great report, and I'm looking forward to the farmer's market. That's one of my favorite things that happens at the park.
Kevin?
Yeah, good report, Jody. Also, a little birdie told me Vista Prairie's exceeded their benchmarks as far as occupation.
Yeah. That's what I heard the same thing, that they had already, I believe their assisted living is already full. And so,
That's
Mhm.
something. That's really
Mhm.
something.
yep.
Midco, you stated some Midco projects that were all completed or almost underway or going to be underway. How about forecasting for the future? I was thinking back, 4 or 5 years ago, we had COVID and that was a big deal about internet access. Has Midco given you any commitment or have they enjoyed their time here? Or have they talked about any more time here?
No, from my understanding, that was grant-based and something with them, the reason they were extending was through grants.
So when the money's
correct?
gone, they're gone. They're stopped.
Yep.
Interesting. I know CenturyLink is not even worth talking about because you can't talk to a live human anywhere or even get a phone number to talk to a human, but.
Well, I'm not sure if Verizon and T-Mobile have now taken on some of that as well. I know that you can get internet through them as well.
Is it worthwhile looking down the road outside of Midco or from a city standpoint to reach out and say, hey, we still have some blind spots here that need help? Can we put that on the things to do list down the road?
So Mayor and Council, I'll address this. With the broadband and fiber, they want enough rooftops. So that is a great deal of why Midco is also not expanding. They require a certain number of housing units before they'll pull the line.
Mhm.
So until we have some of that growth, we won't get the new lines that are expanded out. Is a lot of it. They do have some grants that they've worked through to make expansions, but they've been to subdivisions that didn't have a line at all yet. So they watch our growth. They continually check in and kind of
Sure.
feel where we're at. But until we have the housing numbers, they don't pull new line.
It's understandable. It's got to pay for itself to put it out there, so. Violations, the University Avenue resident has caused you some grief over the last couple of years. How is that? What's the status on that? I drove
you
by
know,
there, it doesn't look.
We haven't had any complaints on the property recently. They did complete their completion up to 50-60%.
Really?
And so, yeah, but that was a year and a half
Okay.
ago. But we haven't had any new complaints on the property, and so it is complaint based.
Complaint driven.
Yep.
And left anonymous as opposed to other cities. If you say something, they're gonna expose you to your neighbors, so.
Right.
All right, and remember, I've noticed, as you drive through town, you see some trucks parked over there, not so much at the hardware store, so they're either not doing commerce, or they're looking at the Rum River. Are they investigating that? I know it's a heck of an investment, but they had some structural things, people looking at that. Again,
I haven't heard if they've had anybody in to look at the structural we're waiting for them to, they kind of working through the hardware store and then they'll come over and talk to us about a little bit more about that.
Again,
We
it's a
will
huge
have-
undertaking. I appreciate them holding their nose and diving in, as it were, so.
Mhm, mhm.
All
Yeah.
right, that's that. That's all I have for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kevin. Thanks, Jody. My only add-in is I just appreciate you for what you do, because I know you get in some tough situations and I've heard nothing but good about how you smooth things over. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your community engagement with the community as well. So showing up to the Holden retirement party even. It says something and I appreciate that. So thank you. On to council member reports. Kevin.
I visited our sign that we talked about our last meeting, and Paul, you're right, the thing is, got a splint on it, it's holding its own. I'm gonna do some independent, take a peek as far as being able to jacket that existing sign and recreate what's there, what's broken, but again, on the top part, again, the visibility portion, as far as just knocking the whole thing down, as far as saving money, our job to try and save money, I want to take a peek at that with you at some point and bring some numbers to you and talk about that down the road. The top part could probably be cut off and some caps welded on. The foundation didn't look as bad. The two brick pillars on either side. But again, we don't know what 47 is going to bring as far as havoc and mayhem there. So, but I'll be back to you on that. I attend the Rum River Fire District meeting. Things are still percolating right along. Not much new to report other than there's no news really to report other than the chief has had some inquiries about other departments wanting to know the template that we used or how we put it together, and he shared some information with them on how we went about it. So maybe more to report later on. I attended the work session also. Just another reminder, daylight savings time is coming up this weekend. I saw today, which is kind of the harbinger of spring, at least around in Minnesota here anyway. I stopped in and saw Peter at the St. Francis Barber Shop. He did an awesome job. Nice young man. I've never, in my 68 years next month, had a hot towel on my face and he shaved the actual back of your neck. But he's a good guy. The prices aren't the same as Bill used to have, but nothing stays the same. But he's a nice young man and you should take the opportunity to visit him and check it out. So that is all I really had at the moment.
Kevin, Sarah.
I attended the work session as well. I didn't do as much investigating to the sign as you did, Kevin, but I did make sure I stopped and peeked at it and saw that, yes, it is indeed in disrepair. So, I guess I don't pay you again, you get so used to seeing something, you don't really even look at it that close. It's just like, oh, there's a sign. And then now I was driving in town a couple of times. I'm like, okay, I can see that. And then I also just met with Kate to discuss some stuff this past week. So.
Thanks, Sarah. Amy?
I don't have a lot to report. I was out with some medical stuff for a couple weeks and I'm glad that's over. And I just have heard a lot of good feedback about the flag. So I guess that's all I have to report.
Thanks, Amy. Joe?
Well, I attended the work session as well. I don't have a ton to report. I did want to address a couple things that were said tonight. I wish Mike was still here. Mike, I'm not talking behind your back. I hope you see it on the video. One of the things is that we as a council at some point say that if you're not here, your voice doesn't matter. That is, I've never heard that from anybody sitting here ever. What we ask for is involvement, and there's many different ways you can be involved. Nobody sitting up here, I don't believe, would ever say that anybody's voice doesn't matter. That's what we're elected to do. So I will say that. I think, we have emails, we have phones. I've said it millions of times, hundreds of times, probably not millions, that's an exaggeration, but hundreds of times as far as you want us to represent you, and we can't represent individuals. For every person that says the dog park doesn't matter, there could be another person too that loves the dog park and uses it. So it's not just one-sided there. But again, we have emails, we have phone numbers. You can come to meetings. There's multiple ways that you can be involved. You can join some of the committees that we have. Lots of different ways to be involved. So we encourage everybody to be involved. I don't think it was ever presented for it to come off that way, that somebody's voice doesn't matter if somebody ever took it that way. I just want to correct that and say that that's completely false. The one thing is if you're sitting at home and you're flipping through channels, I have no idea how you feel about anything. If you shoot me an email or anybody on the council, again, we all have emails on the website. Hopefully our website will work great. But we all have emails on the website, you know, phone numbers that route to us, many different ways to get a hold of us. It's not, you know, we all have, most people, not all, most people have smartphones to where they can somehow use an email, hopefully, you know, or whatever you can do. So I just want to encourage people to be involved, stay involved. And I do thank everybody that does show up when they can show up. It's greatly appreciated. Usually tax time is when we get the most involvement, and that's understandable, I guess, too. To address some of the TIF and all that stuff, again, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding with what TIF and abatements are, and you can still be against it, and that's 100% okay. But you're not actually paying their taxes for them. We do not generate new revenue from the taxes that would be there if they built on their own, but we still get the money as an empty lot. So there is still some revenue there. It just doesn't increase until that TIF is over or they refinance or abatement or whatnot. It's a little deeper than that, but it's not that serious to get into. So just that's just some of the things I think too, that it's again, we want your involvement. We need to know what you're thinking when it comes to these things. I don't think anybody up here wants to raise taxes ever. We go through this every year. Taxes are probably always going to go up as costs go up, like the mayor said. Trying to reduce that or stabilize that somehow is what, you know, we're always looking for reasons to do that. Real numbers don't come in from the county until a little bit later too, for us to have more numbers to work with from the state and whatnot. So it's not like, I mean, we can talk about generalized things, but it's not real work on taxes until we have the data that we know what we're working with. And property taxes, when I was at that town hall, I heard one gal say that, you know, property taxes, no reason anybody should pay property taxes. You bought your property. And for me, I used to think, you know, I paid for something. Why should I pay for something else or continue to pay for it? And I didn't understand it at one point in time. To me, property taxes is one of the most reasonable taxes for me, that I understand where my money's going. I understand some people might not know where all of it's going and whatnot, but you know, to pay for emergency services, police, fire, public works staff with parks and roads. You know, the enterprise fund is the water fund. So if you're not on water, you don't pay for the water system, the fresh water and the sewer there. There is the MS4, and that's a whole nother ballgame, which confuses people all the time. But I know where my money is going for property taxes, so to speak, or at least what departments it's going to, or what the purpose of my money is going to. We can get into the penalties of not paying your property tax and whether or not I agree with that, but that's a whole other ballgame. But property tax, I understand where my money is going. We don't have special funds for special interests or subsidizing things necessarily like states and feds do. So when you talk about waste and all that, I don't think cities have that. So just please keep that in mind when we're talking about the budget. You know, and we can always argue where we can reduce increases or whatnot. And I'm sure we intend to do that this year as well. You know, I've been looking into a few things. What comes out of it, I guess we'll find out. The way a city can generate revenue is by building permits and by growth and getting more people or more businesses to spread the cost of running a city. So let's say a city costs $10 million to run a year. And I'm just throwing that number out there. Don't quote me on that, whatever. It's an example. But if it costs $10 million to run a city and you have 5,000 homes here, that has to be split up between those people based on valuation. It's not all even, but it gets spread across them and the businesses. Okay. So once you grow, if that number stays the same, the cost to run the city, it stays the same. Your portion becomes less because you have more people to share that cost. That doesn't mean we want to turn this into a sprawling, you know, downtown area with skyscrapers and all that. We always hear it wants to be Minneapolis. We want it to be Minneapolis because we want to grow, and that's not the case. But if we don't have growth, costs are going to go up. We talked about that when we talked about the TIF, that you have to be willing to pay the price of not growing if you want to stay the same, because as costs go up, you don't have more people to share those costs to lessen your burden or your percentage of that burden. Who listens to this? I don't know, but I've said it many times, felt the need to say it again, but that's all I have.
Thanks, Joe. So for me, I went to the February 3rd to the Anoka Chamber meeting with Jody and Kate. It's always interesting. I always encourage you guys to go to these things just to, if nothing else, it's just make connections, and it's interesting hearing other cities' presentations at that. So found that kind of helpful. Afterwards, I too also stopped at the barber and met him, and I just, same kind of thing that you were saying, Kevin, he's just very engaging, and he was at the retirement party. He's become a part of our community, and it's very nice to see somebody take something and pick up the baton, and he's a hardworking young man, so I appreciate him. February 23rd, we had the work session. I thought that was a really good work session. I think we made a few things clear as mud, but we at least talked through a lot of things, so that was good. February 24th, I went with the fire board with Kevin. There were just a few things I took away from the fire board meeting. They're shooting for a date of March 19th to get the website up and running. They showed us a preliminary of the website. I thought it was very well done. So hopefully March 19th, somewhere around there, they'll get that up. They are also hoping for a midsummer is when they're hoping to start live streaming their meetings. That's their goal. They're shooting for that. And two other things. They talked about doing quarterly reports. So they would come to Bethel and they'd come to St. Francis quarterly to give a report. So that should be coming soon. And lastly, they continue working on burn permits. They're not 100% sure how they're going to facilitate those yet, but they are working on it. So, and lastly, I was able to go to the Holden retirement thing from the boys from the hardware store, and very well attended. It was just a really good community event. So kudos to all those who put that out there and made it happen. So that's all I've got. Anybody else? Anything? So then I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Mulebauer. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Faunus. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Meeting's adjourned at 7:37 PM.